Everything you do at the net with the volleys, you should do to keep the player at the back moving. Vamos! I'm going to tell you today how to create space. Because there is no space on the paddle court. You need to create space. And you're going to do that by playing, I will tell you in the video, you will get twice as good if you do this. Hello and welcome everybody! Today we are in Oosthout, in Forehand, with Jeroen. And we're going to do where to play the volley. And we're going to start right now.
Vamos!
Vamos! Tío, andiamo! So where do you play the volley? When you drive your car, do you know where you are going? Yes? Oh, why not? On the court. I think you play twice as good if you know where you are going to play the ball. So that's why we're going to do where to play the volley. Basic long line. So if your opponent is in front of you and you play on the left, you can play your forehand volley to the sidewall and your backhand volley through the middle. So you can see that for everybody, and Jeroen as well, that my forehand volley, I can hurt him way more. So that's why Jeroen should play more to my backhand, because with my backhand I cannot play in the corner. Oh, ha! That's why I have to play on the backhand. So now we had a way longer rally because Jeroen played everything on my backhand. So what's going to happen in the match is that I'm going to play that backhand volley cross courts, but then I kill my own partner. If you play on the right and you are right-handed and your opponent is in front of you, then you can play your forehand volley to the middle and your backhand volley to the sidewall. Okay. More difficult, huh? So even though it's my backhand volley, it's still better for him to play to my forehand. And some people have a better backhand volley than forehand volley. Don't tell my opponent, but that's with me, because the backhand volley for me is kind of easier. And I feel that more people have a better backhand volley than forehand volley, especially men. So sometimes it's better to play to the forehand volley. But now, math-wise, so the angles, it's better to play with my forehand when I'm on the right, and better to play with my backhand when I am on the left. But do you play your volley before the line or behind the line? I think that's one of the most important things to discuss. When you play straight, I highly recommend to play the volley before the wide line. And if you play cross court, you can do both. Basically, you can play behind the line when somebody is not there. If you play the ball before the line, a big difference is that the ball goes down against the wall. So if you play before the line, the ball's already going down, and it goes down after it hits the glass. It doesn't matter for the cross courts part, because the ball's going to hit the wall, to the back wall and the side wall. So then the ball will go down anyway because it slows down. If I play with Jeroen straight and I play before the wide line and it's going towards him, he's going to take it before the wall. So if you play against somebody that doesn't use the wall, and then you can play the volleys behind the wide line. But Jeroen is going to let the ball pass if I play the ball deep, because he already is a good paddle player. But if you play against somebody, that is still a little bit of a tennis player, then it might be a good idea to play a deeper volley. You can play through the middle because nobody is there. So if you play through the middle, that's a perfect opportunity to play before the wide line. Vamos, vamos. Okay, so now I'm going to ask Jeroen if he can use the wall when I play the ball a little bit just before the white line and see how much more difficult that is. More difficult, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So before the line is more difficult to defend if they have to use the wall. So playing around the white line could be more difficult because the opponent doesn't know what they should do. They have to think about it. So there's the key. And now do that through the middle because nobody's there. Because Jeroen is there and his partner is on the other side. So there is space in the middle to build up the point and nobody's there, so that's the perfect opportunity to play that ball. So that's what we're going to do today. Why not get that mindset into your paddle game? If you play cross courts and you play on the right and you are right-handed, you should play your forehand volley to the sidewall and your backhand volley through the middle. It is more complicated to get that backhand volley from your right side to the corner. So if you're moving to a certain place, you have to play where you are moving towards. Don't play where you are not going. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm going to ask Jeroen if he can play to my forehand, and I'm going to play to the sidewall a lot because that's the best option for me. So if I have a forehand volley, or especially a high forehand volley, I'm going to play a lot of balls towards the fence because that's the best thing you can do. So now I'm going to ask Jeroen if he can play every ball to my backhand. And with my backhand on the right, it's slightly more complicated to make that angle. It's the same for a left-handed player. It's more difficult to make that angle. It's only possible if you already have some space. But if Jeroen plays a little bit in my body, then I cannot do that. So for me it's super complicated to make the angle there. So with my backhand I try to play to the middle a lot. And I wait till I have the forehand to make that angle. If you're super confident you can make the angle, but it's slightly more complicated. If you play on the left, you can play your backhand volley to the sidewall and your forehand volley through the middle. That's the basics, but it doesn't have to be that every single time. So we get into that more deeply. And also with my outside shot, with my backhand volley, I can play through the fence or to the sidewall, but I can also play through the middle with that same shot. So I can move Jeroen way more with my backhand. So that's why if you're defending, never play to the outside. So now I'm going to ask Jeroen if he can play to my forehand volley, and I'm going to play a lot of balls to the middle. I'm going to try sometimes to play to the sidewall. So that was possible, this shot, because my contact point was quite high. So now I'm going to show you how you can build up the point, and that's by playing a softer or slower ball to the center of the court in the center glass, so exactly the middle, glass number 5. That's what we call it normally. So try to let the ball bounce before the service line and on the middle glass. If you play on glass number 4, that's the most easiest ball to defend. So never play to the glass number 4. No! So this is how. So middle cross, middle cross. So I built up the point into the middle, then the ball was coming back, and I just played slowly to the fence. I don't have to kill the ball, and then again to the middle, but slow down. So try to get the ball before the wide line, and you kill your opponents. It's one of the most... yeah, you should just do it. Please, everybody, you need to get into the mindset that you don't play winners with your volleys, but try to build up the point and try to keep the defending player moving. So in this rally I play to the fence with my backhand and then the court is open. So sometimes it's very good to play a short cross towards the fence. So this is the biggest difference, because I played a deep ball behind the wide line. Jeroen got the ball back, and then I can play a shorter ball, and then I killed him. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you liked this video. Thank you, Jeroen, for your defending skills and your volleys. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Hasta luego. Ciao. Adios.